Hello classmates, my name is Steve Raymer and I'm principal at North Elementary in Goodland, Kansas. I'm a father of 5 kids, I have 8 grandkids. Just finishing up my 23rd year in education, 18 years as an administrator. Why am I seeking this degree? I'm a little bit different. I received my master's in educational administration back in 1998. I also tried to continue on to get my superintendent's endorsement at that time. I just had a few elective classes to take to finish it. I never did. Off and on for about the past 10 years I've inquired about it. I had 4 classes out of the required 6 at that time done. I only had 2 electives to take and I chose not to do it because I was tired of taking classes. Here recently I was encouraged by my wife to finish my degree and call again. I'd called 2 previous times and they wouldn't accept my classes because they were too old. Luckily for me, 4 days had a change of policy and they allowed my 4 classes to count, and they asked that instead of taking just 6 hours, if I'd take 9. I said not a problem whatsoever. One of them was this technology class, which I'm excited to learn more about. Watched some of the videos already, and I've been intrigued by some comments from fellow classmates. I hope to learn a lot from you guys. So I am working on my superintendent's endorsement to put to use in the next year or so. My background in technology is kind of a long story somewhat, but when I was teaching 3rd grade, I was on a technology team within our district. I used the technology at the time that we had, which was very minimal. Once I became an administrator, I hate to admit, but I kind of fell out of the technology loop. I just didn't use it as much as I should have and stayed current. That changed when I was at the junior high, being a junior high principal, and at the end of the year I had some money left over in my budget, and I asked my superintendent at the time if I could use that money to buy some iPads, because I felt that at that time, from what I was reading in professional journals, that technology was going to change the way education was delivered, handled, so on and so forth. So she agreed to that. I bought 13 iPads with that money. That very next year during our PLC time, I told our staff to take the iPads home, use them, play with them, and we would come back next PLC and share once a month what we'd learned with the iPads. They were very excited. We learned a lot, scraped the surface, started exploring apps with just the apps gone free. Someone would find something, they'd play with something, they'd search, and so we started that. I believe that would fit into both ISTE standards A1A and A3B of encouragement, inspire, facilitate, and also support of the ongoing study and use of technology. I know in my career I was an elementary principal for 5 years, high school assistant principal, AD for 4 years, 4.5 years, junior high principal for 8 years, and now I'm back at the elementary. But at each level, and especially the last 2 stops, I've learned to use technology an awful lot. One of the things I've learned in the last couple of years to do a lot is with some of the Google apps. And when I say Google apps, I've used Google Sheets to share amongst all my staff members. I've used Google Docs to share amongst our staff members. I've used Google Plus. Actually, when I was at the junior high, our league used that as instead of meeting face to face, we got together on Google Plus and had our meetings online. So we were kind of ahead of a lot of people in that respect. So I've kind of been on the front side of using some of this technology, but it's getting more and more. Some of my strengths in technology is, number one, I'm not afraid to try. It's just like when I had those 13 iPads and I kind of got in front of my staff and said, this is the future, this is what we're going to use. I remember having a couple staff members when I talked about being paperless, how we would do that. And I remember having a simple, when I say simple, the first app I believe I found was Type on PDF, and I showed them how, and it was just, how in the heck are we going to do this? So we did that, and we started out doing that. And so my strength, like I said, is not being afraid to try, and I have no problem sharing Failed sometimes sharing stuff because it didn't work the way I thought it would work, but I'm never afraid to try. So I think that's a strength that you got to have with technology, that you're not afraid to use it. I think the biggest weakness I have with technology is just the ability to keep up with it. It changes all the time. And just like when I fell out of the loop when I was teaching and went into administration, falling out of the loop, there's so much that have changed. Excuse me. I've also learned that kids can help show you as much about technology as anybody. Ask them how to do it, and they can show you how to do it. Plus, I think that's the challenge too, that our kids, they've grown up with it, they've used it. For some of us, obviously, having a rotary dial phone and black and white TV growing up isn't quite the same as the games, the iPads, the phones, the computers, the Xbox, PlayStations, the things that they have today. So I think keeping up and having the time to keep up with that are extremely important, tough to do. I'm comfortable using some Google apps. One of the things I'm very interested in learning more about, I can't remember the gentleman, I'll have to go back and look at the post, who talked about last year he was about 95% paperless in his classroom. He's now to 99%. I think that's one of the things that I want to keep working on with my staff, is to become more paperless. And when I say become more paperless, I really have stressed trying to be more productive and have more time to use. This year our staff got introduced to Kahoot. I had a staff member at junior high who used it a couple years ago. Didn't know much about it. We've used it extensively this year as an engagement, not only for staff, faculty, but also for classroom. Years ago, we looked into the Socrative app. We have also used that this year. I introduced that to my staff, told them save time. This will grade it. All you have to do is take the time to put it in. We had an after-school meeting where my staff did that, and they took 4 teachers, broke into groups, and they got 4 assignments done within the first meeting we had. So they've used it that way. So I'm proud of that fact. But it's just, I've got to learn more. I've got to be able to share more. So I'm excited about learning more about Google Apps, Google Classroom, and once I find out who the gentleman was that shared that about his classroom, I'm going to tap into his knowledge. So the only other thing I got to say about this class is I'm excited to learn. But I'm probably the only one that has the honor of having my son in the class with me. So I guess we'll see who learns more, the young guy or the old guy. So glad to be a part of the class. Hope I learn a bunch from you guys, which I think I will. So thank you very much.